prayers go out to the Cheney family. Of course, we've had the loss now of former Vice President Dick Cheney. Scripture is very clear. We give honor where honor is due, and someone who gave their life, loved their country, loved serving their country in so many capacities. As you know, Dick Cheney served as Vice President. He served as a Secretary of Defense. He served as a congressman, of course, from Wyoming, and as the youngest chief of staff to any president in the history of the country. And so the honor is certainly due to him, and our prayers go out to the family. This is now day 35 of the Democrat shutdown, and I'll be honest with you, I don't think any of us expected that it would drag on this long. We didn't believe, we couldn't have imagined. It's now tied for the longest shutdown in U.S. history, and we didn't think we'd have to come in here every single day, day after day after day, and repeat the obvious facts to the American people, and to put on display every day what is happening here. Again, it's a split screen. We've talked about this split screen in the country right now. The American people are wise. Ronald Reagan used to remind us you can trust the American people, and we do. And they can see the facts here. They see that the President Trump and the Republican Party are delivering real positive results for the American people, delivering on our promises. We passed the Working Families Tax Cut, which is the largest middle-class tax cut in American history. We signed into law as part of that. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime. Big savings for those on Social Security. We strengthened Medicaid with popular, common sense reforms that strengthens the program. We've improved healthcare access in rural communities, and we have reduced premiums. There's a lot more work to be done there. It's the Republicans who are delivering those reforms. We restored American energy dominance. We got the border crisis solved. We are reducing and handling the crime crisis in city by city around America. And we have restored peace through strength. That is on one side of the screen. Over the past 34 days of this shutdown, the Republicans have been the only ones working in good faith to end the shutdown and get everyone paid and get the services flowing again. And we have voted that way 14 times. That's on one side of the screen. On the other is the Democrats. And it's such a stark contrast. Because in the last 10 months, the only thing that party has accomplished for the country is to shut down the federal government and cause this pain. The past 5 weeks have been painfully clear that Democrats are not interested in doing their most basic job. And we explained here yesterday, all of this is motivated by one thing and one thing alone. The Schumer shutdown was never about health care or any other policy that they claim now. They can't even decide amongst themselves what it was about. Some have said it's the Seinfeld shutdown because it's about nothing. But I'll tell you what it is ultimately about, truly. And this is something that can be demonstrated and everyone here knows it's true. As I summarized yesterday, the Schumer shutdown was never about health care or any other policy. It is about fear. It's about fear. Right now, the Democrats fear political retribution from the far left activists in their party more than they fear the consequences of keeping the government closed for weeks on end. They fear political retribution from far left activists more than families going hungry and workers missing paychecks. That is a fact that they are demonstrating day after day and vote after vote. It's gotten so bad for them that even their traditional allies are losing patience now. The head of the Teamsters Union had a blunt message to Democrats a couple of days ago, quote, "American workers are not bargaining chips. Senators need to stop screwing around and pass the House-passed clean short-term funding bill," unquote. And it's not just the Teamsters, as you know. AFGE, the largest union of federal workers, had the same plea. And so did the National Association of Air Traffic Controllers, the Coalition of Airline Pilots Association, the NetJets Association of Shared Aircraft Pilots, the Allied Pilots Association, Southwest Airline Pilots Association, the New York Steamfitters Union. It goes on and on and on. These organizations have traditionally backed the Democrats for decades. That has been true. They represent tens of thousands of working Americans, all these associations together. And now they're calling on the Democrats to drop their partisan demands and reopen the government. Stop inflicting this pain on the American people because you are afraid of your far left base. And how did the Democrats respond to all this? They're gaslighting the American people and even their own base. The truth is the Democrats have lost touch with working Americans because they've simply stopped listening and stopped serving them. And every few months, after leaning harder into their woke identity politics, they commission an expensive study to try to figure out why working class voters have completely abandoned them in the Democrat Party. Here's a recent finding. This is a left-leaning research group that surveyed 3,000 working class Americans. This was published in Politico November 2nd. Quote, this is the finding: working class voters perceive Democrats to be woke, weak, and out of touch, too focused on social issues, and not nearly focused enough on the economic issues that impact everyone every day, unquote. And here's the kicker. They also said working class voters, quote, can't name what Democrats stand for other than being against Donald Trump. Well, good luck with that as a message to the people. Of course, you don't need a months-long study to tell you that Democrats are woke and weak. You simply need to look around. As the Democrats continue to pander to their radical base of affluent progressives, President Trump and Republicans are building a new multi-generational coalition of voters that is grounded in common sense. Since November 2024, Republicans have welcomed record numbers of Hispanic and Latino voters, Black and African American voters, Jewish voters, union workers, young people, all these different segments of the population, and they came in large numbers. People everywhere can see clearly who's fighting and voting here every day and delivering for them. And I'll say this clearly to every hardworking American in any place who's missed a paycheck, anyone who has been made to suffer because the services, the health services you rely upon, or the food and nutrition supplement for your family, anyone who is hurting, you have a home in the Republican Party. You have people here who are elected by their constituents to come and do their job, and they do it. They're voting to support you, to make these programs available, to ensure that the people in need have them. And the Democrats, by stark contrast,